Hey, it's Amir Bormand, and this is another episode of our daily 10 of the Talent Tango with my brother Arash.
Hello.
And this week, Monday, and Mondays for us is the start of the week, as is everyone, and morning meetings. And we've kind of gone back and forth in terms of how we use, Monday meetings. We've actually eliminated weekly one-on-ones. Again, as a recruiting company, as a sales org, we do need those one-on-one touch points, and we have also a pretty elaborate daily stand up. I'm a software engineering from my background. I was a scrum master. So I leveraged some of my background and brought in some of project management methodologies that we used to use. And we've built a Kanban board. And I'm kind of looking at it right there where we've mapped out our processes and we do a daily stand up following, Scrum methodology of what you've done today, what impediments you have, and what are you going to focus on for us. Um, and That's kind of where we base how to guide everyone. Now, the weekly one-on-ones come and gone. So right now we don't do a weekly one-on-one. We haven't had one for how long? A couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, we touch base, like Amir said, in the morning, so we feel pretty confident that everybody knows on a day to day
Yeah.
what they're doing, where the focus should be, or whatnot. So that's kind of where we eliminated those one on ones. I know some different organizations, different environments, they meet very frequently. Some are less frequent, so it's an ongoing debate that we have.
Yeah, and I think because we do a daily stand up. And the stand-up is pretty strict, like, we're not talking about stories, we're not talking about, what we're really trying to everyone hits what we wanna know, and we move on to the next person because we wanna keep it really brisk. So there anything that needs to be sidebarred, we will talk about that after. But I think also as an organization, we've kinda moved to now we have a lot of micro conversations during the day, so we are constantly talking to the team. So the reason we stopped the one on like the weekly was we had already covered everything. Like pretty much on a weekly basis, we know the status of every single thing we should really. And then even in employees, we do enough touch points and talking to employees and growth stuff that it was becoming a little
Well,
redundant to
yeah, I
me.
mean, I think it depends how your culture is, right? So some places they're very much like, "Hey, go do your job. We'll talk to you once a week," and then that's when we find out any issues or anything that we could do to help you or whatever the case is. So I think our culture is a little bit different. So it's like very open door policy. If you have something, just come to us. I think because people in-house feel comfortable enough to do that, we don't necessarily have to have it always set in stone. Now, if obviously something's important and it needs to be, held one-on-one conversation, obviously that occurs. But I think in general, part of it in the meeting aspect is, are you a super meeting culture or are you, hey, we have something to talk about, let's do it as a team or individually, and then you move on.
Yeah, on a side note, if you're watching the video of this and not the podcast, and if you're on the podcast, go watch the previous video. So my brother here, he literally was starting to sport a beard as big as mine, and we have a one beard on the podcast policy at this point.
I
No,
I just shave every week or every biweekly, so that's it. I'm not trying
it's
to
just
grow a
jealousy.
beard.
I have a patchy beard. My wife tells me it's patchy, and I look at his beard. I'm like, it's nice and full, so it's beard envy. Um, but yeah, I mean the I think what's interesting for us exactly. I do think the one and actually we were talking about should we bring the weekly one-on-ones back? And we've avoided it because we didn't wanna really just have a redundant meeting for the sake of checking a list. We do meet on a quarterly basis, but that's a whole different outlook. But I think what we are looking maybe to bring back is bring back a weekly meeting that sets the stage of what we're committing to for the week as an individual, the person who will be obviously in the one-on-one, and then using our daily stand up to really then chart the progress towards those objectives and kind of what they are trying to get done. So it's less about, hey, and Amir and Arash want you to do X, Y, and Z. It's really what are you committing to? Let's make sure we all understand what load you're working on. Can you get through this level of, tasks, this level of productivity? And then the daily stand up, then we are using that as a barometer to gauge are they on track? Should we make any adjustments? I'm a big fan of micro coaching and quick shifts. So to me, doing the once a week meeting and kind of just watching it for a week is too long. That's why I think even, having in an ideal world, we don't have time. I'd actually run 2 stand-ups in a sales work because that way, whatever you talked about, I wanna know the progress of that by midday and see if we're making headway. Because I've noticed you go down a rabbit hole. I mean, even as an engineer, you can go down a rabbit hole, but engineers are very, output driven. I need to produce X, Y, and Z functionality. So you'll sit there until it's done. But when you run into trouble, you could be spinning the wheels even on that
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you just said it and it made a little sense, like to maybe, hey, have 2 stand-ups. And again, these are very quick, hey, where are things at? What are you working
Yeah,
on? Sort
minutes.
of
Like
thing.
we're
So
talking
yeah,
each person gets 30 seconds to a minute at
yeah,
most. We're
exactly.
not we're not having long drawn out and yeah, like I said, the stories of why my candidate dropped out,
Yeah, exactly. So it's very
statements that
factual
good yeah.
driven. It's very factual. Nobody's looking for storytelling. It's just get straight to the facts and let's get to it. I think both of us don't like that. It's another effing meeting, like situation. I know a lot of companies, they just have tons of meetings at nausea, and so we've eliminated a lot of that. I do think the suggestion that Amir had this morning to me was, hey, instead of having a group meeting on Monday morning, we should make that, an individual one-on-one,
Yeah.
maybe a couple more minutes, just make sure everybody's on the same page. And then again, Tuesday through Friday, we go back to what we do, meet as a group, and everybody goes through their quick, 1 to 2 minute where they've been, what they're doing today kind of thing. So I think that's a really good hybrid approach for
Well, I
us.
think it's gonna be asking them to come into the meeting prepared. So this is
Well,
not
yeah,
gonna
of
be a
course.
meeting where it's gonna be like, "Well, let me tell you what I want you to do." This is gonna be a meeting of, you know what you did last week. You anticipate this week a certain level of work. Show me what we're committing to. And then that way, Tuesday through Friday stand-ups are gonna be measuring to what you committed. And again, going back to Scrum, the reason engineering teams love it is a self-managed team. So the engineers are deciding how much work. It's not on a PM who's like, "Hey, this should be done in a week, right?" And the
Right.
software engineer's like, "Well, I actually need a year. Sorry about that." So this is all, self-managed, self-governed. So the person doing the work is committed to the effort level they can provide to getting X, Y, and Z done. Obviously, it's in our case, obviously we can't use true Scrum. It's a little bit different here, but we are helping guide some of those decisions, like in terms of, hey, you're overcompensating on business development, do a little bit of more recruiting
Yeah.
because the balance here is a little bit challenging. But I do think we'll implement that starting next week and kind of seeing how we do for maybe we'll do like about a 2-month run of one-on-ones. I mean, who knows, knowing us, we'll
Well,
probably drop it again.
but I think the key is whatever you implement,
Yeah.
you have to have a desired outcome for
Yeah.
what you're it's a test, right? So
Yeah.
we need to determine what we're trying to accomplish from, shifting our meetings accordingly and then be able to assess that after the gap of time. And I think the other key is it's about accountability. Like too many meetings, too many times is people coming in and just bullshitting. It's like, no, come in, know what the meeting's about, get it done and go back to being more efficient and working. So I think it's not just that there's too many meetings overall, there's too many meetings that are not prepared.
Oh, we will not be sitting down in this meeting. We will stand up and do this morning.
So,
Yeah,
and that's
we will
another
not sit
aspect.
down.
Sitting down definitely
People
makes
get
meetings longer.
comfortable. Yeah, no, nobody will. We will come in here, paper ready. If I have to take notes standing up, I will
Well,
because it goes
you
by
sit
faster.
down all day, even if you have a standing desk, so it's easier
Yeah, it
to
just
not
goes
sit
by.
down all
It's
day.
I think faster on my feet, and I think people get comfortable to kind of settle in and talk about the week. And I'm like, we just need to get through this meeting in the minimum amount of time because we all have to get back to it. Um,
That's not to say we don't talk about our weekends. We
no, no, we
do.
do. We
It's just a
talk.
matter of
We
like,
when Stranger Things was on, we literally
hey, I
Game of
haven't
Thrones.
watched it, so I don't want to hear anything about it.
Exactly. We have to tell him and put earmuffs on. But yeah, when it was Game of Thrones, we chat a lot. Like again, we talk so frequently in the office about work and non-work that we all really know each other. But again, we're a smaller company, so you can do that. But I even think if you grow, I still think for us, company culture, that communication of understanding people, we're still looking for that. It just may not be in formal structured meetings. We're looking for it in different ways. And
Yeah.
future managers will know that's important to us, and they'll be aware that they need to kind of pay attention to those things. And as we get bigger and bigger, then we solve those
Yeah, I
problems
mean,
better.
in the end, you still need the information. It's just how you go about getting it and the frequency of how you go about getting it. So I think determined based on each culture, the way you want to operate as a manager, whatever the case is for us, short and frequent, or I should say short and frequent is kind of how we operate.
Yep.
And it's more touch bases is easier for us.
Yep. I think that's it. And if you wore a blue shirt today, then you got the memo because Arash apparently subliminally decided to shave and wear a blue shirt. Who knew? I guess we're brothers.
It's
Maybe
Blue Monday.
Blue Monday. Blue Monday. So if you got a blue shirt on out there, go ahead and let us know. More important than the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Let us know what you guys. I mean, I'm curious if you guys are using one-on-ones weekly. You guys do daily stand-up. Do you mix them up? How frequently the touch bases, whether your one-on-ones are more of a weekly outlook or check in with the actual employee. Curious to see what you guys are doing out there.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you want to provide feedback, we'd love to know. This is still early stages of the Daily 10. This is the 4th episode of this, so love to see what you guys think about the 10-minute clips. And yeah, give us a iTunes review if you can. Thanks a lot.